Begin with those new details in the Casey Anthony murder case. We'll talk to her parents in just a moment. But first, NBC's Kerry Sanders is in Orlando with the very latest. Good morning to you, Kerry.
Well, good morning, Mara. The state prosecutors readily admit they're missing some key pieces of evidence. They don't have a murder weapon. They don't have a cause of death. And there's no forensic evidence that links Casey to the scene where Kaylee's remains were discovered. But still, prosecutors are pursuing an aggressive case. 23-year-old Casey Anthony was offered a plea deal. Admit she killed her daughter and escaped the death penalty. She refused, and now as prosecutors pursue a death penalty case, they're detailing what a jury will eventually hear when they describe 2-year-old Kaylee's final minutes of life.
Kaylee was almost 3 when she died, with duct tape over her nose and her mouth.
The 2-year-old's remains were found in the woods near her home, duct tape across the jaw.
As the killer looked into her face, maybe her killer even saw her eyes as the tape was applied. First 1 piece, then 2, then 3, so that no breath was possible. Could Kaylee have understood what was happening to her? Did she try to resist? Could her killer see the fear in her eyes as the tape was applied?
The raw, blunt description brought Casey to tears. Her parents, Kaylee's grandparents, George and Cindy, were so disturbed they left the courtroom. But moments before, just as prosecutor Jeff Ashton began his account of the murder, a microphone on the defense's table picked up this whispered exchange off camera. While the TV camera is not on Casey or her lawyers, it appears she's asking defense attorney Andrea Lyon to tell the prosecutor to stop. Listen again. The defense team believes prosecutors expected Casey would have admitted her role to escape a possible lethal injection.
The prosecution has put Your Honor and the defense in the position of having to guess on what basis they're asking for the death penalty, other than this is an infamous case and there are cries for blood out there in the public.
Among the strong pieces of circumstantial evidence, Kaylee was missing for 31 days, and her mother, Casey, never told anyone. That's why authorities saw that gap in time and immediately focused their attention on Casey as a suspect, and that's ultimately what led prosecutors to arrest her and charge her with the murder. Meredith?
Kerry Sanders, thank you very much. Casey Anthony's parents, George and Cindy Anthony, are with us along with their attorney, Brad Conway. Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Cindy and George, looking at those pictures of you from the hearing on Friday, I can see the pain in your faces as the prosecutor is detailing what they believe may have happened to Kaylee, how she was murdered. How difficult was it for you to sit there through that?
It was too difficult. That's why I had to get up and leave. It was difficult to hear, but I could also watch the monitor of Casey's face because there was a monitor right next to me from one of the local stations, and I just couldn't bear to listen to it anymore, and I couldn't bear to watch it anymore.
Well, like Brad told us, he said, you know, George and Cindy, it's going to get harder before it gets a little bit easier. I don't think it's ever going to get easy for us. But like Cindy said, it was very hard for us to sit there, and how Prosecutor Ashton was just so descriptive of everything. It was just too hard to take.
You know, I didn't realize until I was, reading the note last night that it's been 14 months since you've sat with your daughter. You've seen her at these hearings, but you're not allowed to talk to her there. You have not gone to the jail to visit her. Why not?
Because we've been advised not to. I mean, it breaks my heart every day. I'd love to go see her, and that's what I'm hoping that from the motions on Friday that Judge Strickland will grant us the opportunity to do so.
But advised not to based on what?
Because everything we do or say or anything Casey does, any look that she gives or doesn't give, she's so picked apart. I mean, even her tears on Friday, I mean, people were just picking her apart. I mean, that's her child. That's her child. Casey loved Kaylee very, very much. And it's unbearable to listen to how someone took her away from us.
Well, from what I understand, Brad, that all of those meetings in jail are recorded and can be revealed to the public, released to the public, and that is why the defense has said they'd like there to be no recordings made when Casey's family is there, or at least have them embargoed. But a lawyer for the jail has said, look, we are just following Florida law here, and we should not change that for any one inmate. So does Casey really deserve special treatment?
You know, it's not special treatment. There's a similar murder case pending, and one of the judges has granted the defense a block on the release of those videotapes. I would expect Judge Strickland to rule consistently with that, and I expect him to also block the release of these videotapes.
So when would that ruling be expected?
Judge Strickland is pretty efficient in ruling, so I would expect that to come this week.
Cindy and George, do you still stand by your daughter 100%, still believe that she is innocent?
Well, like I've said many times, I don't believe my daughter could hurt anyone. I really don't believe that. I don't believe Cindy and I could bring someone into this world who would want to hurt someone, especially their own daughter. There's just no way.
I believe in Casey 100%. I know that she loved Kaylee more than anything.
But I know that you also want to know the truth about what happened to your granddaughter. And
Absolutely.
in the course of this trial next year, it became evident that Casey was behind the death of her daughter. Is that something that you could accept?
I can't accept what I've been seeing because I don't believe that they've done a full investigation, and I would like them to continue to do so. There's a lot of evidence out there that has not been looked into. I mean, nothing ties Casey to this. There's no motive. There's no evidence linking Casey to Kaylee except for the fact that she didn't report her missing, and that's the only thing.
It's been a year since Kaylee's remains were found, and in all that time, you've kept her room intact to the way it was before she disappeared. Do you go into that room ever?
Oh, we go in that room quite frequently. I mean, matter of fact, the presence of her is inside of our house every single day, every night. I mean, we're not going to close our feelings and our thoughts and our memory of her. We're not going to close that up. We still have to keep on going. And having those memories of her and having that room, that's what keeps her alive, not only in here with us, but in our heart.
It's hard to go in there, but I do go in there.
Cindy and George, we appreciate you being here today. It's a very difficult time for everybody in your family. And Brad Conway as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Meredith.